Subscribe for daily boxing videos, guys. We fill up that US arena with Brits. We're open to a US fight for the Wilder fight. I think it makes sense to do too. Not because we want any rematch clause, but because it's the biggest fight in the world of boxing. Why not run it twice? The fans would love to see it. Run it twice. One at Wembley and once in Vegas or at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Somewhere like that. I think your estimation of a $20 million gate is right because it is the biggest fight in the world of boxing. It's the most exciting fight in the world of boxing. It's the most dangerous fight in the world of boxing. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn had to say. He says that he actually wants to have Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder happen twice because he thinks it's such a big fight that the fans would want to see it twice. The fans would, I guess, demand to see it twice. He said he would want it once in Wembley in the UK and one in either Las Vegas or the Barclays Center. I have no problem with that. I actually think that's a good thing, especially if like the fight is controversial in the first fight. I mean, I guess it depends how the fight turns out, whether or not boxing fans would really want to see a rematch. Let's say the fight happens, the first fight, and let's say it's a very dull fight and it's a very boring fight. You know, leading up to the fight fans will be excited. But let's say after the fight happens, if it was a dull fight, if both of these guys fought very cautiously, then they probably wouldn't be demanding it. But let's say it was a really good fight. Let's say it was a barn burner. Let's say the fight was close, and let's say it goes to the decision, the judges, and let's say, you know, either AJ wins or Wilder wins, and fans are left saying, you know, I felt like this guy won. You know, the wrong guy should have lost. The guy that won should have lost. Or let's say it's like the Klitschko fight. If you remember when Vladimir Klitschko fought Anthony Joshua, that was a very competitive fight. That wasn't a one-sided fight. Well, I thought Vladimir Klitschko was winning the fight, but especially in the first half of the fight. But in the second half of the fight, I thought AJ started winning rounds. But if you remember, after that fight happened, a lot of people wanted to see the rematch, right? We were all excited for the rematch. Why were we excited for the rematch? Because the first fight was so competitive. If AJ would have just blown out Vladimir Klitschko in 2 rounds, everybody would have been like, well, Vladimir Klitschko was past his prime. It happened, the fight only lasted 2 rounds. I don't want to see that again. But that was a close fight. Vladimir Klitschko knocked down AJ. Vladimir Klitschko hurt AJ. Anthony Joshua ended up stopping Vladimir Klitschko. That's why a lot of fans wanted to see the rematch, and they were excited. So let's say that fight, the first fight in Wembley between Joshua and Parker, played out like that. It was a back and forth fight. Joshua drops Wilder, but then Wilder drops Joshua, and then somebody ends up knocking out one of the guys in the late, let's say round 10, 11. Then yeah, fans will definitely be going crazy for that. I think they should make the fight happen, the rematch, personally, in the Barclays Center, just because you see Eddie Hearn is saying if they have it in America, it would just be either in Las Vegas or Barclays Center. I think it's better Barclays Center because Deontay Wilder has fought in the Barclays Center like what, 3-4 times now? So he's known there at least. You know what I'm saying? I think he's only fought in Las Vegas once. I remember when he fought at Bermain-Stavern the first time. I think that was the only time Deontay Wilder fought in Las Vegas in the MGM Grand, I think, or was it the Las Vegas? I forgot, but I remember when he fought for the title, he fought Bermain-Stavern there. So that's probably the only time that Wilder has fought in Vegas. So I think it'll be when it comes to Eddie Hearn, I think if he was smart, he should make the fight happen in Barclays Center just because people already know who Deontay Wilder is there. You know what I'm saying? Because he's fought there so many times. But yeah, I think, like I said, I have no problem with this. He's saying that there's not going to be a rematch clause. So basically, if Joshua wins, they don't have to give Deontay Wilder a rematch. But he just wants to have a second fight with Wilder just because he thinks it's really big. I find it funny that Eddie Hearn, who happens to be a British promoter, the biggest British promoter in the UK, is going around saying that he believes this is the biggest fight, Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, the biggest heavyweight fight that could be made. He said that out of his own mouth. He thinks this is the biggest heavyweight fight that could be made in the heavyweight division, because I have a lot of British, UK subscribers, and a lot of them always tell me that they believe the biggest fight that could be made in the heavyweight division is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Like, every time I talk about things like what's the biggest fight that could be made in the heavyweight division, they always say it's not Deontay Wilder versus Joshua, it's Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, because they say Tyson Fury is a big name in the UK, and of course Anthony Joshua is a big name, so they believe that will make the most, or generate, I guess, the most money. But here is Eddie Hearn, the biggest promoter in the UK, saying that he actually believes that the biggest fight that could be made in the heavyweight division is actually between Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. And I guess it makes sense considering the fact that Tyson Fury is irrelevant. He's irrelevant. He hasn't fought in 3 years. Maybe if Tyson Fury would have continued to fight, maybe that would be the biggest fight. But he's irrelevant. He hasn't fought in 3 years. And Deontay Wilder's been very active. He's been very active, and he's been hyping up the fight a lot, especially with all this trash talk that he's been, saying for the past couple of weeks. Deontay Wilder really is trying to hype the fight up. He's really trying to hype the fight up. I have no problem with that. It's called trash talking. Fighters do it all the time. As long as they actually fight the guy. Not just trash talk, but never fight the guy. Like Wilder has done in the past, But yeah, I really hope this fight happens this year. But for some reason, I get the feeling it's not going to happen this year. Because, when it comes to boxing, every time, especially when it comes to certain fighters, like a Deontay Wilder, every time we want a fight to happen, it doesn't happen. So, again, I just hope this fight doesn't, I just hope it's not 21 and finally we get the fight. Because at that point, Wilder will be like 36, and people are going to be saying, well, Wilder was past his prime, and all this is this nonsense. And they're not going to be giving Joshua the credit if he beats him. Or even worse, if, let's say, one of these guys lose in the next 3 years, then it's not going to have the same hype behind it, because it's going to be like, well, this guy already lost. The reason why boxing fans are excited for this fight is because a lot of reasons, A, they're both undefeated. They're both undefeated. So they've never lost in before, so that's a plus. B, they're both big, heavy-handed punchers. They're punchers, right? So somebody's bound to get knocked out. C, a lot of people want to see if Deontay Wilder's the real deal. So if he fights Anthony Joshua, that's going to give him a lot of credit if he beats him. D, a lot of people don't like Deontay Wilder, so they just want him to get knocked out, and they think that Anthony Joshua is the guy who's going to be able to knock him out. So in their mind, they're thinking, oh man, I want Anthony Joshua to be the first guy to fight Wilder, just to knock him out, to expose him, so I could go online and talk shit, right? That's how boxing fans be thinking sometimes. And yeah, there's multiple reasons as to why people want to see this fight. I personally want to see it because I just think it's a good fight. I personally don't care who wins. I don't care, a lot of people think I want Wilder to win because I'm not from the UK. I don't care if Wilder wins or loses. I also don't care if Anthony Joshua wins or loses. I just want to see a good fight. I'm not one of these type of fans that are patriotic, that if a guy fights in my country, I want him to win. I'm only one of those guys. If you're from my hometown, then I'm rooting for you. Like Joe Miller. Joe Miller's from Brooklyn. Of course, I'm going to be rooting for him. That's it. And even Errol Spence Jr., because he's like my favorite fighter. And by the way, he was also born in New York. I know he's from Texas, but he was born in New York too. But when it comes to like Wilder versus Joshua, I'm not like emotionally attached to any of these fighters like some boxing fans are. So I really don't care who wins. I don't care. I just hope it's a good fight. and I hope somebody gets knocked out because I don't want this fight to go the distance and people say it was a robbery. That's why I love knockouts, because when you knock somebody out, you can't say shit. You know, it's over. He won. Even if he was behind the cards. When Arthur Spooker was outboxing Wilder, I thought he was schooling Wilder. But at the end of the day, he got knocked out, didn't he? So, Wilder still won, so it doesn't matter. Joshua could be winning every single round against Wilder, and then he gets knocked out in round 12 with a right hand that lands right in the chin. So, and what I like about this fight is I think both of these guys have suspect chins. I think both Wilder and Joshua have suspect chins, and both of these guys are big punchers. So when you got two guys who have suspect chins and two guys who are big punchers, somebody bound to get, you know, wobbled in there, and somebody bound to get dropped in there, and somebody bound to get knocked out in there. That's why I'm very excited. That's what excites me the most about this fight. Anyway, guys, this video is going on way too long. Let me know what you guys think of Eddie Hearn's opinion. Do you agree with him? Do you don't? If you watch the video from start to finish, like always, I appreciate it. And subscribe for daily boxing videos, guys. I make videos on a daily basis. I'm out.